Dobrodyutra Tuborowski. So, what's with this attack on the highest institution of state in the North American Federal Republic, Azov? You finally gone over to the libertarians. Well, when the issue is one of democracy and of empowerment and opportunity for working folks, one will hardly find our frat boys standing with us as allies. So my crossing over can't possibly be the issue. Rather, it's that the Supremes have become the bought and paid for Politburo of reaction, standing with the libertarians who theoretically despise government. These 9 tenured radicals are standing among the greatest enemies to freedom and democracy in America. In fact, I charge the Supreme Court with being as great a threat, as much a clear and present danger to the well-being of the American Republic as the grafting swindlers of Wall Street, doing to the body politic as their financial peers did to the economy. The only thing stopping me from an on-point analogy to Al-Qaeda is that they are jurists, not the CIA. Physical death from the sky without warning is not their style. And when I say clear and present danger, I am knowingly using the doctrine of the court itself, the standard of judgment in deciding First Amendment cases, which determines if one's speech or action is an immediate threat to the well-being of society. This Supreme Court stands condemned by its own standard. What should be the last resort in protecting the rights of the public, individually and collectively, from abuses of state, has instead become the first resort of those who wish to abolish the state protections of the average citizen, prostituted to serve as the rule of public force for the personal and social advantage of paying clients. Now, it's true that people rant against the court whenever its majority begins spewing decisions upsetting them. The liberal social democratic Warren Court of the 1960s was a noted example. Now we see this ideological trend reversed, and of course the court will now be attacked from the left. So what does the axe grinding have to do with the essential role of a Supreme Court? Well, the court in the USA is a politically appointed oligarchy. Like all aristocrats, they claim to stand above parties and partisanship, but of course, as part of the political order themselves, this is difficult to do. What this court has done is, I won't say unprecedented in its history. Coming under the domination of one party, it certainly now is administering not constitutional law, but class rule, through such blatant partisanship, with no pretense of objectivity, serving one sector of society, the richest and most powerful, by twisting legal logic into irrational shapes that raises doubts of their mental competency. Not only is the court dominated by out-and-out ideological partisans of the right, like Clarence Thomas, Antonin Scalia, Samuel Alito, Anthony Kennedy, and last but far from least Chief Justice John Roberts. Not only are their rulings tortured excuses for stripping democracy of all meaning for those who don't inherit daddy's money, they are directly bought off by the same private interests funding Tea Party fascism, the Koch brothers, champions of stateless liberty, whom you'd think would have no need of the highest organs of government to do their bidding. Well, that's what you get for thinking. Scalia was a featured participant at the Koch's annual political Sabbath in 2010 and personally welcomed the Tea Party congressional freshmen to their seats in January of this year. Alito served as a fundraiser for the Koch-financed Intercollegiate Studies Institute and for the Koch-funded Manhattan Institute. Clarence Thomas has been accepting gifts for years from Harlan Crow, the reactionary real estate billionaire and rightist political funder from Dallas. There's no question this investment has paid off very handsomely. There can be no reasonable doubt the Roberts Court is a clear and present danger to any balanced view of democratic rights. They've shown their preference for vested privilege and their intervention and determination of the 2000 election in ruling against women employees of Walmart and striking down matching funds provisions for state elections or state limits on campaign contributions or allowing AT&T to continue defrauding its customers. Anything that will benefit the powerful minority and keep the majority in their place is sure to have the blessing of this Politburo. So what to do about it? Well, some options are available. One can have the justices elected. They'll resist this as an infringement of their nonpartisan status, but as we've seen increasingly, this poses just that. The Supreme Court is not nonpartisan. It is under the control of reactionary, black-hearted bigots, and there are nonviolent ways to break the stranglehold of these black-robed executioners to freedom. One could abolish the Supreme Court outright. After all, it's not part of the Constitution, as any third leg of state. It assumed these powers and was allowed to do so for partisan reasons in Marbury v. Madison in 1803. Under the English Bill of Rights, judicial review of Parliament was expressly forbidden, as judges were oath-bound to the king, and so could not be impartial. Judicial review lingered at the edges and finally reworked its way back in as an allegedly nonpartisan watchdog. Well, this is no longer the case, and you'd think the Koch-funded think tanks would be the first to advocate its abolition. But no, it's their shield against the mob, that is, Congress, you and me, and tyranny, that is, any executive they don't control. As it is, the Koch family is running 2/3 of the government, and if they get their way in 2012, the U.S. will not be a government, but a one-party regime, in fact. But because judicial review does have a place in the check and balance of government, it's time to make the Supreme Court truly responsible to the people it rules. Against, as it now stands, they are not 9 Gullivers, and we are not Lilliputians to be trampled on at their good pleasure. Uh-oh. Who can this be? Nobody good, I'm sure. Hello? Ayn Rand, what are you doing with this number? You want us to know that this Supreme Court is proof of the inherent imbecility of government in ruling humanity. That it shows we'd be just as well off without a government at all. Well, I can understand why you'd say that. Oh, that's what the brothers are saying at their charitable foundation seances, when they summon you from the great stateless beyond. Well, that figures. The Kochs are out of the closet now, and caught with their hands under the Supreme Court robes. Thanks to you, Ms. Rand.